r/ask Reddit. What do you wish more people understood? If I invite you to something and you can't make it, or don't want to go, just say so. I'd rather have you say I don't think I'll be able to make it. Thanks though right out the gate than say yeah I might be able to, I'll let you know and then just not show up. Getting an invitation turned down right away hurts a little. But I'm an adult and I'll get over that. But making plans and thinking people will be there and having them not actually show up is really hurtful, and that takes way longer to get over. Couldn't agree more. Happened to me recently. Had booked last Saturday with my mates months in advance and they all made a huge deal about coming up to my place for drinks, video games, cards, etc. Every week it was can't wait, and 2 weeks remaining, and all that shit. On the day of, every person cancelled. One of them cancelled half an hour before he was meant to show up. Now, I have a shit ton of booze and snacks that I bought just taking room up in my fridge. Reddit post. My mates bailed. Anyone want to hang? You'll be up to your nosahas and friends in no time. Games. Booze. A lost soul abandoned by his mates. You'll get a whole slew of new friends, no worries. We judge ourselves by our intentions and we judge others by their actions. The fundamental attribution error. Just a little flag here that the opposite can be true too. Someone else eats all the chips in a bag. They must have been hungry. No big deal. Treat yourself. I eat all the chips in the bag. I'm a gluttonous piece of shit with no self-control. I've said this before, but as a teacher I wish parents understood that statistically speaking, most kids are not above average, and that's totally fine. The insane pressure that kids are under to be exceptional in every subject and activity is insane. Can totally agree with this looking back at my younger school days. I was the smartest kid in class up until high school. Eventually, all smart kids are put in one class and your parents still expect you to be the smartest one. To just let your kid have fun as long he doesn't fail miserably. I teach at uni level and it's so hard to convince kids of the fact that just because you're a physics major who got a B doesn't mean you're now stupid. It's just your group of peers is the most out of whack it will ever be. Most likely, it's just all those kids were either the smartest or close to the smartest in school and never had to work hard to be there, so it can be a tough adjustment. Learned this the hard way. I was able to coast through all my school classes in the first 2 years of college, but after that, I actually had to work hard as duck to keep up decent grades. It hurt. Control SHFTT will bring back all your tabs if you accidentally close your browser. Wake up, people. PLS delete this before my wife sees. Understood. Currently deleting your wife. I also choose this guy's deleted wife. How to manage finances correctly and the consequences of debt. I'm very well educated in this area and continue to make horrible financial decisions. Financial management is 20% math and 80% mindset. Apologizing isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. And it takes guts. Ditto for being able to say I was wrong. Empathy. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Right? People tend to ignore that everyone is just a human being, not much different than oneself. Trying to take a glimpse behind the thoughts or feelings of someone else would lead to a lot of confrontations being way less likely to escalate. How to drive. The stick to the left of the steering wheel makes the blinky. Use IT. I wish more people could understand that there is not a single person who chose which family, ethnicity, country, community they were born into. Why would you treat someone different and punish them over something they have absolutely zero control over? Empathy is a crazy thing to grasp. Just because I am tall does not mean I am good at basketball. I was a lanky awkward teen with no athletic abilities. Tell me again how you would have been an NBA player if you were blessed with my height. I would have been an NBA player if I had your height. That the media can and will lie or deliberately choose misleading wording to make people view a situation differently. They have their own agendas. And will sensationalize the news. When one candidate claims it's raining and the other says it isn't, the media's job should be to look out the window and see who's right, not to print headlines like candidates clash over the topic of rain outside. In the UK, they will massively take sides. Recently, the UK courts ruled that something the current PM did was illegal. He lied to the Queen and suspended the elected members of Parliament. One headline was "Where were you when democracy died?" with anger towards the judges for upholding UK law. Meanwhile, someone noticed that the main opposition was at the same event as someone with ties to the IRA, the event being unrelated to the IRA, and the same paper will boast about X in meeting with IRA member. This one is super specific. I work at a psych hospital, and the other day I was working with the kids' teens, and this girl got on the phone with her mom, and her mom started lighting into her about how much of a burden she was and making rude comments about her body. If she was an unhealthy weight, then she was too thin. The patient had an eating disorder, conduct issues, and depression with suicidal ideation. I wanted to tell her so badly that so many of her problems would go away, if not get better, as soon as she got out of that house. All she needed to focus on was not perpetuating the cycle. Instead, the absolute most I can say is it gets better, and mention it to her therapist, who will hopefully bring it up in family therapy. Too long didn't read It's okay to cut toxic people out of your life for your own mental health. I wish more kids knew that that would be an option as they got older. I was a patient whose doctor basically said that meds will help you recover, but you need to get away from your parents. It helped. When I was a teen, father made me visit a therapist, fearing his ugly divorce was messing me up. An hour and a half later, the specialist was genuinely apologizing to me for everything I had to go through, asking me to endure for a while more until I could support myself and then fly off the wasp nest for my own sanity. I still think about that sometimes. Pianos should be tuned at least once per year, even if they are not played. If the instrument goes too long without being tuned, the strings may become brittle and inflexible for tuning. Likewise, the tuning pins in the pin block can become resistant to tuning adjustments and not hold the pins reliably in place. Is it expensive to have a piano tuned? Tuners typically charge $50, $125. Considering that the piano is often worth a substantial amount of money, tuning charges are more than worth the investment to maintain the instrument. You are not so OCD just because you like things to be organized, or prefer everything to match. OCD is not cute or quirky. It is a serious and very difficult diagnosis to live with that takes years of therapy to even begin to understand, and requires daily effort to fight against. PPL on social media. Oharu, I am so OCD, I like it when my pencils are lined up neatly. You woo. My best friend who actually has OCD. If I don't do this series of actions this exact number of times in this exact time frame, everyone I love will die. My friend has OCD. He isn't very organized, because it's mainly about hygiene. Constantly washing his hands. Freaking out when people purposely touch his stuff. People think it's funny to mess with people who have issues, and it's sickening. There are no ninjas or samurais in Japan now. Fun fact, ninjas never wore the iconic black outfits. They were the ancient equivalent of the modern spy, so they actually dressed up like everyone else in order to blend in whatever setting they need to. The guys in black suits were actually helpers in old theaters. They would simulate certain movements like throwing daggers and stuff like that, and were supposed to be completely ignored. Some plays used this as an element of surprise. An actual actor that plays a ninja or an assassin would dress up as the helper and stand in the scene, and then attack their supposed target when no one expects it. This would startle the audience because they ignore the dudes in black and focus on the story. That is where the iconic view of a ninja comes from. Not every young person is lazy and whiny. Not every old person is as grumpy and rude to young people. Not every Democrat is a lazy socialist SJW. Not every Republican is a homophobic sexist bigot. Not every straight person is homophobic. Not every LGBT person thinks LGBT is their only personality trait. Not every Muslim is a terrorist. Not every Christian is biased on religion, sex, race, and sexuality. Not every person is their stereotype. There's a minority in every group that ruins it for the rest of us. Yeah, it surprises people when they learn I'm not straight. There's no other way to detect a sexuality but sexual means. Spatial awareness. You're in the way. Excuse you. I don't know why I always say excuse me to get around these people. We should start saying excuse you. Extra double bonus for when they decide to congregate right in a ducking doorway and then act like you're rude for trying to enter/exit through said doorway. That having social anxiety doesn't mean I'm shy. Oh, social anxiety? No worries. I'll introduce you to everyone. Hey, everyone. This is Piece of Oblivion. She's anxious around people, so everyone say hello. I have the exact same problem. People don't understand what it's like and just assume that I get a bit shy sometimes, but then get really ducking angry when I don't go to their parties or something and I explain why and they're like, just man up, get over it. Or my personal favorite, it's not that bad. The fact that opinions aren't facts. I believe that when everybody understands this, world peace will be achieved. That's just your opinion. Love just doesn't go away. I'm so tired of people telling me to get over it because he hurt me and I deserve better. Yes, I'm trying to move on, but it doesn't just magically happen. God, I've cut off good friends because they kept saying this when I unexpectedly lost my aunt. Once or twice I can ignore, but if you keep doing it, I'll just ignore you altogether. This might be something you want to do if this happens to you in whatever context. Breakup, death, etc. How to understand people are allowed to have opinions. People act like believing something else is an unforgivable crime. This doesn't mean you're not free from scrutiny. It just means you are allowed to think it no matter what, so long as you behave respectfully. People are allowed to have whatever opinions they want, but that doesn't mean that all opinions should be treated as equally valid. I don't think flat earth theories or Holocaust denial should be treated as though they're just different views worthy of debate. Medical knowledge is ever changing and growing, and people should not distrust science completely over a few mistakes. Nothing is perfect, including science, but that doesn't mean people should stop getting vaccinated, eating healthy, etc. Asexuality. It's such a small community and even some of the LGBT community hates us. Why would anyone hate asexuals? Their existence simply means more kitten dong for the rest of us. No means no. You were asked if you wanted anything to eat and you said no. So food on my plate is off limits. Not everyone can read your mind. If you want something, ask for it. That no is an acceptable response. I don't need some excuse or reason. Just say no and move on with your life. Basics of scientific method and why we should believe climate scientists. Apparently, we're supposed to believe that 98% of the world's climate scientists are lying to us to protect their sweet grunt research money gravy train. But fossil fuel CEOs are just hard-working businessmen who care only about their employees' jobs and would never fund decades of propaganda to protect their profits. Driving isn't a race. Even if you are in the fast lane, going 20 over, and passing a bunch of people, you still aren't going to get to your destination that much faster. At least not a significant amount of time at all. Moreover, if the amount of time you made up by driving like a crazed a-hole actually does matter, that means that you should have gotten up a little bit earlier. If you can't get up 10 minutes earlier so that you can get to work in a reasonable amount of time, you probably shouldn't be driving anyway because you're clearly a child. Maybe it sounds a bit silly and childish, but I think memes. Most of people don't understand them or just don't know them. Mathematics and statistics. People always act like being bad at even just arithmetic is okay when it shouldn't be. Even worse, they think that's all math is, and as a mathematician it's really annoying to hear that a million times over. And statistics, just so people can finally see through so much of the data manipulation present in the world. Lies. Damn lies. And statistics and all that. Basic US history and the fact that millions died to have the rights we shit on today. We can all be loved despite our differences. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.